Hey everyone, in this video we will look at how to install and run Docker on a bare metal cloud server. Now a bare metal server refers to a physical computer or server without any virtualization or operating system layer on top. Now this is a dedicated physical machine that is assigned to one customer, implying no other customers or tenants share the hardware. So some of the benefits of running Docker on a bare metal cloud server include high performance. You also get full control, implying you can set up your server the way you want and choose the hardware you need. And also you get enhanced security and isolation since the hardware is not shared. Now to follow along in this video, you need a Cherry Server's client account and adequate knowledge of how to run Ubuntu basic commands. So now with that out of the way, let's get started. For a smooth and seamless connection to our bare metal server, we are going to take the approach of generating an SSH key pair, and after generating the pair, we are going to copy the public key to the Cherry Server's portal. Moving on, the first step is to generate the SSH key pair, and the way we do this is by using the SSH keygen command, as you can see on your terminal. So we're going to write SSH keygen with the -t flag, and then we're going to specify the algorithm. So here we are going to use the ED25519. You can choose to add a comment. So let's say you want to put a comment and describe this key. So we are going to say something like Docker server and hit enter. So this is what you get. So you'll be prompted to provide the file path in which to save the key. So this is the default file path, which is the SSH directory, which is a hidden folder in your home directory. So here I'm just gonna hit enter to accept the defaults. For the passphrase, we are going to leave it empty. So I'm going to confirm this again, and there you go. So we have generated the SSH key pair in this path here. Okay, and just to confirm this, we are going to check the contents of the SSH directory. So I'm going to run the command ls-al. So I'm going to specify the SSH directory like that and hit enter. So as you can see, this is what we have. So this is the private key and this is the public key with a .pub suffix or file extension. And we can further check the contents of this key. So to do this, once again, I'm going to run the command cat, then SSH, then ID _ ed, then .pub. So this is going to reveal the contents of this key. So I'm gonna hit enter, and as you can see, this is what we have. And at the very end here, you can see the comment we just added, Docker server. In our next step, we are going to copy the contents of the public key, which we have already displayed here, and paste it on the Cherry Server's client portal. So see you in the next step. To copy the public key, ensure you highlight the contents of the key, as you can see, then select copy like that. So now we're going to head over to our web browser. So here, ensure you have logged into your Cherry Server's client portal. Now to begin adding the key, you need to head to the top right corner here and click on your profile icon, then select user tab, then navigate and select SSH keys. So here there are two ways of adding the SSH key. You can click on the add button here or simply click the add SSH key, as you can see. So once you click on that, you're gonna see this pop up. So here you're provided with the label and the key. So for the label, you can provide any descriptive name. So here I'm going to say my SSH key, and for the key, I'm going to paste the contents of the public key. Okay, so here we have provided the label and the contents of the public key. So to add the key, simply click add, and this will add the public key to your portal. As you can see, this has been successful. Now once you've added the key, the next step will be to create a bare metal server. So see you in the next step. With the public key successfully added to our client portal, the next step will be to deploy the bare metal cloud server, and to go ahead, simply click new instance. So this will provide you with a wide selection of servers that you can deploy. So for our case, we are only interested in a bare metal server. So here we're going to come here and select dedicated servers. So here we're going to go with the 8 to 16 cores. So once you select that, you're going to be provided with a wide array of bare metal servers that you can choose from. So for our case, we are going to go with this selection here, which is AMD Ryzen 7700X. So these are the server specifications. So I'm gonna select this. Then here I'm going to select the preferred location. So I'm okay with the default selection, which is Lithuania. Then I'm gonna scroll all the way down here. So here I'm just going to leave everything as it is. So for the OS, I'm going to select Ubuntu. Then I'm going to scroll all the way down. And here for the instances, you get this hostname here, which is an arbitrary hostname. So here I'm going to change this to Ubuntu. You can leave it as it is. So this is just your preference. So here I'm going to have Ubuntu. And for the SSH keys, you're going to see the label which you assigned to your SSH key. And in our case, this is my -SSH-key here. Now, once you have ensured everything is okay, you need to review the billing plan. So here, this is set to hourly, which I'm comfortable with. And by the way, you need to also ensure that your account is well funded. So here, you need to ensure you have some money. And once that is done, click Pay and Deploy Now. And as you can see, the instance is in a provisioning state. And here you can see the instance details as well as the hardware details. Now, once this has been successfully deployed, you're going to see the details about the network interfaces and the IP addresses. So just be patient as the deployment goes on. After waiting for about 15 minutes, you can see the deployment of our bare metal server has been complete. And here you're provided with the login credentials, both for the SSH and for the remote console. And over here, you can see the IP addresses. So here you can see this is the public IP and the private IP. So here we are just interested in the public IP address. So we are going to click here to copy this, and we're going to use this address to log in from our local machine. So I'm just gonna head over back to my local machine here and clear the screen. Now to log in, what you need to do is to run the command SSH, then root at, then provide the public IP to your bare metal cloud server, and then specify the path to the private key on your system. So this will be .ssh then /ID_RSA. So now I'm gonna hit enter and I'm going to say yes to verify the fingerprint and hit enter. So as you can see, we have landed to the shell of our bare metal server, and as you can see here, this is the system information. So you can run the command whoami to ascertain that. So when you run whoami, you can see we are logged in as root. So now we can begin the process of installing Docker on our bare metal server. But before we go ahead, it's advisable to create a sudo user, which you're going to use for running privileged tasks. So here I'm going to create a sudo user. First of all, I'm going to create a regular user called Cherry. So I'm going to run the command add user, then Cherry, and hit enter. So here I'm going to provide the password, and then I'm going to confirm it and hit enter. So here I'm going to fill out the details. So here we're going to have Cherry. So I'm going to click enter, or rather type enter, and then here I'm going to type Y to accept the information. So as you can see here, we have already added a user called Cherry to a group called users. And by the way, these are just a default group. So we can confirm this by running the command groups Cherry and hit enter. So as you can see now, Cherry belongs to two default groups. We have the Cherry group, which is a primary group, and the users group, which is the supplemental group or the extra group. Now we need to add Cherry to the sudoers group or the sudo group, and to do so, run the command usermod with the -AG flag, then specify sudo, then Cherry like that, and hit enter. So when you run the command groups Cherry, this time around, you're going to see that Cherry belongs to the sudo group. So now we're going to switch to the user called Cherry by running the command su-cherry and hit enter. So now we are working as a user called Cherry with sudo privileges. Now from here, we are now going to start the process of installing Docker on our bare metal cloud server. Moving on, we need to ensure that our system is up to date and all the packages are in their latest versions. So first, start off by updating the local package index, and to do so, run the command sudo apt update and hit enter. So this will refresh the local cache. We are done. Then the next step is to upgrade all the packages to the latest versions, and to do so, run the command sudo apt upgrade and append the -y option there. Our system is up to date. Now, the next step, we need to install dependency packages. So I'm going to copy this command here and run it on the terminal. And I'm going to hit enter. So this will install all the packages required. Now, once we have installed the dependency packages, the next step is to add the GPG key. Now, the GPG key is important as it will allow you to verify the authenticity and integrity of all the packages that will be installed from the Docker repository. So we are going to add the GPG key, and to do so, I'm going to run this command here and hit enter. So once you have installed the GPG key, the next step will be to add the Docker's official repository. So I'm going to copy this command here and run it on the terminal. So this will add the Docker's repository. So I'm going to paste it and hit enter. All right, so this will add the Docker repository file in this directory here. And just to confirm, I'm going to run the ls command here. So I'm going to hit enter. And here you can see we have the Docker repository added. So now, once you've done that, we need to refresh the local package index to notify the system about the new changes made. And so I'm going to run the command sudo apt update and hit enter. So this is to notify the system of the newly added repository. So the next step is to install Docker. Now we are going to install the community version, which is free to download and use. And to do so, simply run the command sudo apt install docker -ce for community edition and hit enter. So once you hit enter, this is what you get. So this will install a variety of packages. So as you can see, it installs Docker CLI. It also includes Docker Compose, plugin, and many more. So to proceed, just type Y on the keyboard and hit enter. So this will take roughly a minute. So just be patient as the installation goes on, and we are done. Docker does not automatically start and run by default, and therefore we need to start the service. And just to confirm its status, we can run the command sudo systemctl status docker and hit enter. So as you can see, currently it's inactive, and therefore we need to start it. So to do so, simply run the command sudo systemctl start docker and hit enter. Then let's confirm its status. And this time around, you can see Docker is active and running. Something else we can do, we can also check its version. So I'm going to run the command sudo docker version and hit enter. So this provides you with an array of information. So here you can see its version. So here you can see Docker Engine Community, and we are running Docker version 28.40. So this is the API version. And as you can scroll down, you get more and more information. Now, as you may have noted, we've been invoking sudo to run our Docker commands. And the reason for this is that Docker by default is set to be run as root or a sudo user. Now, if you try to run it as a regular user, you're going to encounter some permission error issues. So for example, if I try to check Docker version without invoking sudo, this is what I'm getting. So as you can see, at the very end, you get a permission denied error. To make your work easier, you are going to add the user to the Docker group. And by doing so, you are going to skip the need for using sudo every time you run the Docker commands. So to add the currently logged in user to the Docker group, simply run the command sudo usermod, then -ag. So here you're going to specify the Docker group, and then you're going to specify the currently logged in user and hit enter. So let's check the groups that the user Cherry belongs to. And as you can see, Cherry now belongs to a group called Docker. So the next step, we are going to run the command new group Docker and hit enter. Now, once you've done this, you need to start a new shell session. What you're going to do, we are going to close the current session and open a new one. Alternatively, you can run the command su $user. So this is going to spawn a new shell session. Then here I'm going to provide the password. Okay. So now we can start running Docker without invoking sudo. So now let's check by running the command docker version and hit enter. And as you can see, this time around, we do not have any permissions error. Now in our next step, we are going to start running Docker. So see you in the next step. So now let's start running Docker commands. And to begin with, we are going to pull a container image from the official Docker repository. So at the moment, I do not have any images, and just to confirm this, I'm going to run the command docker images command. So this is a command that lists the currently existing images on my system. So as you can see, there are no images residing on my system. So to pull an image, simply run the command docker pull and then specify the image name. So for example, here I'm going to pull an image called Nginx with the tag latest. So this pulls the latest version of the Nginx image. So I'm gonna hit enter. And as you can see, it's now pulling and this is complete. Now to check the images on your system once more, run the command docker images and hit enter. So this is the image that we have just pulled. Now you can create a container from the downloaded image, and to do so you use the docker run command like that. So now I'm going to create a web server container. So I'm going to run it on the background using the -d option. So that's for running it in detached mode. Then I'm going to specify the port mappings. So I'm going to say 8080, then Nginx latest. So what this does is that it runs the Nginx web server and maps port 80 on the container to port 8080 on the server and runs it in detached mode. So I'm gonna hit enter. Now to list the containers, simply run the command docker ps and hit enter. So this is the container we have just created. So this is the container ID here. As you can see, these are the port mappings over here. So now we can confirm this Nginx web service, whether it's running, by heading over to the browser and browsing the server's IP. So here we are back at our web browser. So I'm going to copy the public IP address over here. Then I'm going to open a new tab and I'll paste it here and then specify port 8080 and hit enter. So as you can see, we are running the Nginx web service straight from our container, and this is a confirmation that our container is running as expected. To stop the container, simply run the command docker stop, then followed by the container ID. So I'm going to copy this container ID here and provide it here on this command and hit enter. So this is going to stop the container, and we can verify this by once again running the docker ps command. And as you can see, this time around we don't have any container listed here. Similarly, we can head over to the web browser. Now let's confirm whether our web server is running. So I'm going to refresh this, and now as you can see, we get an error on the browser, and the reason is we have stopped the container. Now let's go back and start it again. So I'm going to run the command docker start, then I'm going to paste the container ID once again and hit enter. Now let me run the docker ps once again. So I'm going to run docker ps, and once again the container is up and running. Let's head back to our browser and refresh again, and now as you can see, our web server is up and running, and the reason for this is because we have started the container and it is running as expected. The other thing you can also do is to check the logs for the container, and to do so simply run the command docker logs, then provide the container ID and hit enter. So this is going to give you all the logs of the container and give you an overview of what has been happening. So that's how you check the logs. The other thing you can do, you can take a snapshot of a running or stopped container and save it as a new image. So I'm going to run the docker ps command to retrieve the container ID. So now to take a snapshot of the container, I'm going to run the command docker commit with the -p option to specify the container ID. So I'm going to copy this ID here and paste it here. Then I'm going to specify the image name. So here I'm going to give it the name my_web app. Then I'm going to tag it version 1. So Of course, you can give it any arbitrary name. So this is just an example. So this is going to save the container as a snapshot in this image name here. So I'm going to hit enter. And this output confirms that we have successfully saved the snapshot. So I'm going to confirm by running the command docker images, and this will give us the snapshot name. So as you can see, this is the newly created image, which is the same size as the initial Nginx image. The other thing you can do is that you can export an image into a tar archive so that you can back it up or move it to another machine. Now we can do this by running the command docker save with the -o option. So we are going to save this as a tar archive. So I'm going to specify the name of the archive. So I can give it a name, let's say my _web app _backup.tar. Then I'll specify the image name. So in this case, we have my _web app, then version 1, like that. So ensure that this reflects what we have here, or the image snapshot. So I'm going to hit enter. All right, so now let me see whether I have my tar archive. So I'm going to run the ls command, and as you can see, this is my tar backup file here. Okay, and this is the memory size, so it's about 188 megabytes. And that's it, guys, for this video lesson. In this video lecture, we walked you step by step on how to install and run Docker on a pre-configured bare metal server. And in addition to this, you also learned a few post-installation tasks, such as saving a container in an image snapshot, and also how to back up a snapshot in a tar archive. So that's it, guys, for this lecture. Please don't forget to leave a like and hit the subscribe button so that you can continue receiving more of these Linux tutorials. From us, it's goodbye and see you in the next video.